Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Diz.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. Welcome back, everybody. So, quick recap of the last... some things are going on. The party showed up in a well, then they got saved from a well. Well, they kind of saved themselves from a well, and then they found a very strange, foggy, vine-covered, spider-webbed sort of place that just seemed a little unsettling, and they met a Mayor Willie, who some people call Big Willie, but, Mayor Willie is his former title. Though I guess since he's the only one left here, I guess he's kind of mayor by default, really. You learned a little bit about just some of the stuff that's going on here, and the party's just starting to formulate maybe what they want to do here, and we'll pick up from there. So you guys are still in the main room of the inn. Willie's kind of gone quiet over the past couple of minutes, seeming to just be kind of thinking about anything he might be able to provide you that might be helpful, when he kind of suddenly, I did have an idea. There was a fella who was working at the church, and he was writing down everything that was happening, just in case he needed to send it out to someone else for help. Of course, by then we'd figure there wasn't nothing out here to help us, but he still wrote it all down. So I imagine you could go take a look at his residence and get the book from there. It might have some helpful tidbits I don't remember.
Sounds like a great idea.
Like something we could do.
Insight again.
Sure.
Is he leading us into a trap?
If he's leading you into a trap, you're definitely already in it.
Yeah. 19.
I think we were led to the trap by a dancing.
Dancing Lancing.
Again, seems like a pretty genuine individual. He's definitely not telling you everything, but you can't tell if that's just because he doesn't remember everything at this point. 10 years on your own is going to be pretty rough.
Did we figure out when Lance was here?
Was it 10? Was it the 10 to 12?
Well, at minimum. That's how long he's been alone.
But Lance told you he didn't want to go back.
9 months.
Because it'd been 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Does time go faster here?
Seems to.
Or did Lance just lie?
Also.
Seems to. But yeah, if you wanna take a look, he used to live. So the house y'all gotta go to for the brooch. He's the one right beside it. And that's where the holy people used to
The which people?
practice.
Oh. And where do you
Next to the
stay?
graveyard.
There was a dilapidated church in the middle
Mhm.
town, right? But it's not there.
No, he's saying it's in the guy's residence. Up by the graveyard.
Speaking of, I suppose, holy matters, do you recall to whom the church was built in the center of town?
Yeah, I remember. It's, geez, I used to pray there almost every day. It was, to the light. And that was it.
Makes sense.
And, this town, does it have a name?
Yeah. And we used to have two names, you understand. If you was coming from the west, then this was Williburg. Now, if you was coming from the east, they had a different name for it. They called it Shitville. They didn't really like us all that much. I
Shitville?
prefer Williburg.
And what were the towns around you?
Let's see. If you went to the east, that's where the Stronghold used to be. I imagine it must still be out there somewhere. And then if you went to the west, that's where there used to be... what was that little town called? It was fairly small. You understand, I haven't had to go there in a while. something Shire, pretty sure. Something like that, anyway. I can take a look, see if I got it written down anywhere, but it hadn't been something I need to be concerned about for a great long while.
This may be an odd question, Mayor Willie, but
Well, a bunch of people showing up mysteriously in your well makes for an odd day.
that was about to be his question. You seem not to be surprised that we randomly appeared in your well.
Oh, and don't misunderstand, son. It ain't that I ain't surprised to see you. It's more than at this point I'll take any excuse to have someone to talk to. You folks want to travel by well, that's your business.
Would you come with us?
Into the well? No.
No, if we were able to leave.
Sure. I ain't got a whole lot going on here these days.
Your daughter, could I ask you a question about that?
Aye.
Did she die of natural causes, or did she die kind of like the way everyone else did?
Well, about the same as everybody else, I'm afraid.
Who was the first person to die? Do you remember?
The
From these strange causes.
The first person. Well, we don't know if he's dead necessarily, but I would have to say it'd have to be the old Wilson's boy. Joe Wilson. Little boy, about 5 or 6. One day he just, he went out into the fields to play and just sort of didn't come back. But we don't know for sure he's dead, just missing, you understand. But the timing wasn't great. It was right around when kids started singing that little song, so it certainly seems suspicious.
Do you have the bodies of all the people who have died?
Most of them are up in the house. Some of them we did manage to get buried in the graveyard before things went, for the worst. So most of them are up there. Some of them are still in the houses here in town. At a certain point, we couldn't really safely go get them all.
And how many? So you said you found a lot, or there's been a lot of bodies. But you were also mentioning that some people had been sucked into spoons and stuff like that.
Well, one for sure.
Do you know how many others have just disappeared in that potentially the same way?
Well,
compared to the amount of people that their bodies are still here.
Well, I certainly wasn't the best mayor there ever was, but folks like to come to me with the problems, and I reckon it's probably about 50-50. About 50% we could account for, and about the other 50 we can't.
And out of the 50% that you did find the bodies, were the causes of death seem to be the same? Or did anybody die much differently than the others?
I'm afraid I can't answer that one for you. So the priests would know better than me how the bodies looked. They performed the last rites, but none of my business how a man gets put in the ground.
Was there anything particular about the area that the boy, Wilson's boy, went missing?
Not that I recall. He was sort of... you understand, kids being kids, they don't offer up as much respect as they maybe oughta, but, we told them not to play in the graveyard, but sometimes they do.
He was playing in the graveyard.
That's where they last saw him.
Well, it seems we have two goals side by side anyways.
How's that, son?
Well, the priest's residence and the funeral home.
They are quite close.
We should probably go look at the residence first. The priest's residence.
Probably, and hopefully as carefully as we can.
If you're gonna go walking, I'd recommend attaching something to the bottom of your shoes. give you a little extra height. It helps you not step on so many vines. They tend to wiggle around when you step on them. So if you kind of put yourself up on some sticks, sort of thing, it's a little easier.
Well,
Do you have
that might
any-
be problematic.
Do you have any stick shoes?
Not set up. I long since got tired of wandering around all them weird looking things. But you're welcome at this point. I don't imagine I'm gonna get many other visitors. So if you gotta break down anything here in the inn to make them, you can go right ahead.
Nim, would we all be able to use that transport you used to carry the things in Wallace's manor?
The floating disc?
If that's what it's called.
The thing about that, we could do that tomorrow.
Magic is consistently a mystery to me.
How can it both be ready tomorrow but not ready today?
Don't understand.
It makes
It's not like we
no sense.
expected it to become useful.
My
It
weapons
just
are
happens to
always
be.
ready.
I do feel like that's just my weapons.
Or actually, no, I do have it on.
Oh, never mind.
No, my dots are just shifted because the pages. It's on.
It's fine.
But can't we use it that way? Just like float ourselves?
I think we could float you.
It does have a weight limit. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Maybe it would be best to float like Dis and I.
Everybody but Lazarus.
We're a little bit more dexterous than.
Or would we want to be the ones in the
No,
ground?
I think you'd want to be the ones on the ground.
The dexterous.
Then we can-
Oh, right. Yeah. I get it. Yep.
Oh, Lazarus is going to fall down and, like, crush the vine to death.
He's gonna have to put sticks on his tail.
We should take protective measures, though, to cover our
It's
body
500
parts.
pounds, so you got a little.
Well, no, that's...
It could probably take Lazarus.
Yeah, just Lazarus.
I'm not so sure it could.
I was just saying he's got a
confidently
little
take
breathing
anybody on.
room.
Yeah, if it's just him, then
Could
there's
Nim go
maybe
on it
some-
with him, though?
No, because it follows me.
Yeah,
So
he can't ride it himself.
If I ride on it, it doesn't go anywhere.
So just a Lazarus sled. A floating Lazarus sled.
The Lazarus.
Well, it's more like I'm just bringing it up as like a possible idea, because
That's not it. How long does it last?
you have to build some beefy
About an
swords.
hour.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much an emergency.
It's a ritual, though, so I can
Oh,
cast it as many times as I want.
As long as he's got 10 minutes of safety between.
I guess I can always cast it then if it's ritual. I didn't realize it was ritual.
Yeah, no. The only reason you'd put it in your list of spells then would be if you want to be able to cast it within an action.
Rate me out.
I need a disc. Write me out.
Okay.
Well, I reckon I can go keep working on the stew for you lot. If you like, if you need some privacy.
Sleeping accommodations. Is there safe places to spend the night?
Well, I mostly sleep in either this room or the kitchen.
All right.
So, either really is fine.
I mean, really just proper tents in here.
Okay. Are you all right with us spending the night with you?
Oh, sure. It's nice to have visitors.
I'll spend some time to dry off on my ship, too. Or,
Okay.
Like backpacks on it.
I feel like
You're feeling all right now. The feelings come back in your fingertips. There is kind of that, you know that feeling like when your leg falls asleep and like you're past the painful tingles, but like there's still that feeling that like something still isn't 100% right. It's still kind of got that, just a little bit.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, so he steps aside, gives you guys the room.
So, like, we need to make steels?
There are chairs in the room?
Yeah, there's the 5 chairs, or the 4 chairs, I should say, that you guys were sitting on, and 1 for Willie. Those are kind of the only complete chairs left. Everything else has been kind of harvested. They've all been broken apart, and bits and pieces are missing.
I'm pretty sure if like, we went around the village market, there would be probably more stuff than we use.
I'll just go around to the broken pieces in the
Yeah.
room and
Yeah.
I would do.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of wood material for 4 people.
Well, we only need enough for 3, right?
Well,
Yeah.
If you want to go ahead carrying Sounds like that. We might want to try and make some makeshift ones for him that might support his wages and days, but
What if we made him like, instead of just like a
We don't have
stilt like you would
titanium.
be on,
Yeah.
but like
that's the problem here.
4 little pieces of wood on the bottom?
Yeah, like clog thumbs.
Or like almost like a high heel, but like a platform shoe high
Mhm.
heel.
Like an open platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be the
Those ones
most.
that they make for like little kids, like do like the tin cans with strings on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Who's the craftiest amongst you? Has anybody got any carpentry / affixing sticks to the bottom of your shoes skills?
Well, he's a gnome.
Yeah, but I'm over force now. I'm not the tinkering kind of gnome.
He's not the tinkering kind.
I mean, I guess Lazarus would actually be pretty good with wood at building watercrafts and shit.
Yeah, as a sailor, you'd definitely be familiar with, especially emergency construction,
Yeah.
if nothing else. Lazarus is probably your best bet then. Assuming you guys got something to lash the sticks to your, or however you're
Got
going to
100 feet
attach
of rope.
them.
I mean, we have worked on building a town.
That's true. That's true.
We should all have some skill sets.
At least a bare minimum. Yeah. You don't have any nails necessarily, but the chairs themselves were held together that way, so you can kind of scavenge them in a very similar manner. So you can even do like the simple just nail through the bottom of your shoe style.
I want to create like a stilt.
I have a crowbar too, so I can
Break things down. Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility as well.
Uh,
Really just describe to me how you're doing it so I have a general idea of how
I think-
well they'll hold.
For Nim, he would just find like sort of like that piece on the chair where like the cross member goes.
Mhm.
He would just find like 2 pieces like that where he could just like walk on them like stilts.
Okay.
That's kind of what Kenna was thinking as well.
So not even attach them to more just have like 2 L
Um,
pieces of wood type of thing.
I think Lazarus has 3 extra sets of his common clothes with him, so like we could use clothes wraps around the feet to the stilts if we want to.
To tie ourselves on.
Yeah. So I guess I'll.
I mean, I have
each one
rope.
of my common clothes sets.
Sure. Yeah, just mark it off and you can replace it with some, in your inventory, just rags.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have, is that kind of the general principle everybody's going to go with? Kind of just one...
Well, Lazarus will give himself some stabilization because he's gonna have to need a lot. But
like cross-country ski style.
That's all kind of how stilts are. Like they have the sides on it so that you're like,
You can kind of hold with your legs
Yeah.
and
and
or you
you're-
can hold with your hands
hands.
and
so yeah, we'll all have like just like
Yeah.
ski things.
okay. Yeah, something like that should work more or less for the purpose you need it for. So as you kind of been talking and setting up like how you're going to do this, you have noticed it's starting to get slightly dimmer outside. It's hard to tell with the fog, but definitely the brightness is kind of tapering off. As to what time that puts you at, you haven't the foggiest idea.
Good play. I don't know if we should go out today.
Why not?
Well, he did bring up that it likes the darkness.
Yeah, more chance we'll find it.
He's got a point.
You're ready to fight it right
Ever
now.
intending to find it?
Darkness is my ally.
Nim's already in.
Good
his
job,
Jizz.
I think it would be better for us to get more of the information tomorrow, and then maybe tomorrow night do this, but I don't think that we are equipped.
Well, it depends how much light can we generate.
Then Nim casts light on the end of his staff. He's like, but that much?
So what, 60 feet of light?
The
Give or
dancing
take.
lights around myself.
Lazarus has
That's like 5.
a lantern as well.
I think lanterns are only 40 though.
I've got a hooded lantern,
Then
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's,
I can shoot it at the beam.
Yeah.
And candles are good for a small light.
yeah, what is it for the hooded lantern? It's like 20 if it's, or 10 if it's covered, and 50 if it's not, or something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
it's directional compared to the other one.
Oh, I'm looking right at it. Bright light, 30 feet. Dim light, another 30 feet. If it's hooded. Or if it's not hooded, sorry. If you lower the hood, you get 5 feet of dim light. So 60 feet, but 30 of bright and 30 of dim.
Which is better than the torches too.
Yeah, torches are 20/20.
I have torches.
This doesn't need much light.
Light is for the weak.
Light is for the bumper.
So is the intention then you guys are just going to wait the night?
I think it would be smartest to wait the night.
We also don't know how much time we have to work with in here.
Nope. Hold on a second, I'm gonna try something. Lil?
No answer.
Lance?
Also no answer.
I wanna.
What happens if you try and divine the weather in here?
Ooh, good idea. I want to druid craft the weather.
I
Okay.
wanna hit my. Sorry, just before let's start doing the ring thing, I wanna hit my ring. Go. Nim, can you hear me? I'll do it a little bit away so you can hear me normally.
You can kind of hear him. It's like he's talking through a really long tunnel.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's very faint and kind of distorted a little bit. Okay. Workable, just not great. And Kenna, sorry, you were gonna. What does the Druid Crafting the Weather show you? Like, what can you learn from it?
All of the things.
All the weather things.
Predicts what the weather will be like at your location for the next 24 hours. Yep.
And I think it just describes like ways.
Yeah, it describes it.
Which is fine. I can describe it. Okay, so you pop your hands open and you try to divine the weather. Normally it would show you kind of a slow progression over the next 24 hours. Like it might start with like kind of a bright light to indicate sunny, and then maybe it gets a little dimmer for foggy, and like it would kind of show you that progression. You do notice the same kind of feeling of progression, but it's just a gray ball of fog that kind of cycles between being kind of lit up and very much not lit up, but it's moving through that cycle really fast. Instead of being like, okay, it took a minute to do all of the sunlight, and then there was another minute of fog, and then there's a minute of like open sky, like, okay, that's the day sort of thing. It flashes between bright and dark in about 10 seconds and then just winks out like it's done.
Time goes real fast here. I think we wait the night.
Ready, let's do this. Leroy!
Okay, Kenna still wants to wait the night.
Lazarus is either or.
He wants to burn shit down.
Well,
Nim's
that's
had fire in his eye since he got here.
Since he got told it sort of worked.
It sort of worked, yeah. Since he got told it kind of worked, he's like, well, that's the solution then.
Speaking of which, and I'm actually going to take out those common rags I made, and I'm going to make a facial bandana for everybody.
Okay. Well, except Nim. Nim's already got one.
Yeah. Well, he does now.
He's got his ninja clothes.
Something that we can like soak and cover our mouths to not try.
Yeah, just like a... Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that works. Just in case Nim decides to blow up something.
It's gonna happen.
Lazarus, the super reside, he's just like, I'll make the mouth guards. That seems fair, so you take a little bit of time to do that. Not that there's a lot to that. Anybody else have any comments on sleeping the night, going out now? What's the group consensus?
We can sleep the night.
Yeah, I guess so. This kind of wants to go now, but begrudgingly will.
I kind of
The
like
darkness is...
kind of
I
like
just feel
watching
like
the
it's
sun
like a
as it
terrible
gets
idea.
darker.
Like, why are we going to put ourselves
Kinda
into a
like features any
situation where it's
change.
dark?
I guess I'll
Time
play
constraints.
more times.
We don't have them. Time passes way fast here. We probably would have like 2 weeks here, and it would be like a day there.
Yeah, but people disappear here in the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's go out into the night when people disappear in it.
No, we're gonna stay back like everybody else did when they disappeared. Which is actually might not be a bad thing, because then we'd be able to actually interact with whatever's causing it. So.
Okay.
But that being said, we can do that while sleeping.
Who's the first victim?
So, you guys are going to set up for the night. How are you setting up in the room?
Around the fireplace.
Well, I guess how much orbit space is there as is?
I mean, it's a main in-room, so, I mean, you're looking at... Yeah, I mean, it's a decent-sized room. You're looking at least, 10 feet by 20 feet at least?
Is there only one door in?
There's the door in, and then there's a side door behind the bar that leads back to the kitchen area, kind of in a semi-typical layout. There are two other doors, one that leads down and one that leads up. They're both kind of against the far wall. If you go, not straight from the main door, you kind of have to go off to the left a little bit. So there's 4 doors.
Willie?
It's just kind of a pause for a moment before the door opens. Yeah?
How do you usually set up to sleep in here?
Well, I usually sleep in the kitchen. It's a small room, less vines. I can stay off the ground.
Is that last bit important?
Well, I figured the vines grow on the ground, so staying up off it seemed like a good idea.
How many vines are across the floor, or is it just...
It's more that they're, encroaching through the windows. Most of them are just kind of on the walls. Seems like whatever pacing he's doing is keeping them off the floor in here.
All right.
In the kitchen?
This is such his big-ass tent.
Right in the middle of the room?
Big room, yeah.
Okay.
In the big room?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a big tent.
Lazarus pitches his enormous tent. Not a euphemism.
And he pitches his tiny tent. Also not a
Do you pitch it next to his tent? Is there tent-on-tent contact?
No.
I'll sleep on the
There's
table.
a respectful distance.
Yeah.
Okay. How much are we talking? Are they a foot apart, or did you guys kind of
5 feet.
5 feet apart? Okay.
I mean, I could put his tent inside my tent. Maybe double for that.
Now you're just taking this too far. We had a nice little euphemism that people could giggle at, and now it's too far. Okay, so we've got the big tent, a little tent. They're about 5 feet apart. Kenna's going to sleep on the table.
I'll just meditate in another table.
There's only one non-broken table.
Is there any, what other elevated places are there in the room?
Their bar?
Yeah, like a bar?
Yeah, you
Okay.
could sleep on the bar
Yeah, I'll
if you
sleep
need to.
on the bar,
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'll meditate on the bar.
Okay. This is just going to be up there meditating. By the way, I'm sure you look, there's no drinks.
I will dance, though, as part of it. Also, something I want to do in the night is I want to go to the wall, or actually I won't do it in the night because I'll wake people up, but I'll do it immediately, is I want to go to a wall where there's some vines around it.
Mhm.
Just want to, slam on the wall a little bit. I'll warn Willie before I do it.
Okay.
I just want to see if, vibration has anything to do. I want to look at the vines while doing it and see if they react in any way to...
And you're doing that once night falls?
I'm just doing it right now.
Oh, okay. So you walk over to one of the windows. Does it matter which one? Or you
No,
looking
just
for one
that
in
there's a
particular?
vine. I want to have a vine close by, so
Yeah.
it would react to it. If possible.
So when you bang on the wood, the vines don't move initially, but there is a kind of a very slow retraction. They're just not really shrinking back out of the window, but they're just kind of sliding slightly further away from where you banged.
And if I move a little bit closer to it and bang,
They move in just that little bit, just to that little bit of a kind of sliding out of the way.
okay, and going to the other side to confirm it, they go back the other way.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll just let everybody know. Seems to be vibration that they don't like. And then I will go,
Set up on the bar.
and I will dance near any vines that are on the floor.
There's none on the floor. They're just coming through the windows.
If I see any at night while meditating that might want to encroach in,
Tap, 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 tap.
it's done.
Don't worry, everybody. Dis is going to keep you all safe by tap dancing.
It's
We're
my
gonna
time.
sleep so well tonight.
Okay. So, anything else anybody wants to accomplish before nightfall?
I'm just going to be watching it, I guess.
Okay.
Pinging out.
How many pings can you do? Just in general?
I've done 2, so I think I have 4 more.
Okay. So how is the watch going?
I'll do
Lazarus
first.
will take first. Well, I wanted to be pinging out as it turned dark.
Okay, that's fair. Lazarus will go first.
I'll go second then.
Okay, Kenna second.
As Dis can do third and fourth.
Sounds good.
Awakening.
Or would you rather do one gnome?
Nope.
The gnome will take that sleep. He's got to get ready for magic tomorrow.
Fire.
Magic day.
Nim spends the whole night sitting there like, can I get one more fireball cast out? What could I do? Okay, so everybody settles in for the night. You've all picked your various spots. Lazarus, you're going to ping kind of that moment that it kind of seems like night falls and see if you can feel kind of a transition. Definitely a difference. As the night kind of drops in, you give it about 20 minutes just to kind of make sure it's not going to get really any darker, that you've kind of reached full nightfall. And then you ping out. And whereas before there was kind of that feeling of just something watching you, but it's kind of just out of view or like just out of focus, like you kind of have a hard time pinning it down. When you ping out as it gets darker, there's still that sensation, but it's almost like that form kind of more solidifying. It becomes more of less of a feeling of something just watching you from the shadows and more a feeling of like a thug in an alleyway. Like you can feel it. It's a more visceral threat.
Well, Lazarus is glad we did not go outside.
Kenna was smart.
Anything else you want to do during your downtime
I
for the night?
suppose pray to change my steps.
Fair enough. Lazarus finds himself in deep prayer while changing his spells. Next is Kenna. So Kenna, you wake up, you take over the shift from Lazarus. Lazarus, you really didn't have anything to report over the rest of the night other than that the ping seemed much more threatening as night fell. Kenna, what do you do during your watch?
I watch.
Nice.
Fair. What are you watching? The door, the vines?
All of the above.
Okay, and just kind of head on a swivel, trying to keep an eye on everything?
Yeah, and I think I would also try to say a prayer to my Leaky, just because I know that I haven't been able to reach her in the Stronghold, because it's all fake, but we're kind of in this, like, in-between. So I think I would pray to her as well.
Okay. Just feeling out for comfort.
Yeah.
Twice during the night, as you're kind of just praying and trying to keep an eye on everything, you hear loud groaning and like cracking sounds. Not so much groaning as in like a person, but kind of like an old house settling. There's very much that feeling of the wood of the building is getting moved around or is shifting and that kind of stuff. It all feels a little alarming just because it's an unfamiliar environment, but you don't see anything obvious other than that.
Okay. I'll pass that along.
Once Dis wakes up. Dis, just before you wake up for your watch, you have I wouldn't call it a nightmare because the elves don't necessarily do that quite that way, but nevertheless, you get a vision, so to speak, during your meditation. It could very easily be described as a dream, and you could swear just as you're waking up that for a moment you see the blood or the floor soaked in blood. But it's kind of as your vision clears and you kind of come out of it and wake up fully, it's clearly not there. But nevertheless, it unsettles you.
Yo, Meyer, what the fuck? And I want to see if actually there is a connection there.
Nothing that you can feel very strongly.
What can I feel?
In the same way that, like, ever since your god weapon was complete, that you've felt that little bit more of a connection, but nothing that seems different in this place. That's fine. Dis, it's your watch. You've got 2 of them. What are you doing during the night? Besides dancing to keep the vines away.
Besides that, I'll just once again watch it. I didn't have anything that I had planned other than keeping.
Okay. Just keep an eye on
I'll
things.
probably keep a closer look on the floor and just see if I see any more flashes of like
Something weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. So Dis's keen attention to the floor serves him rather well as the night starts to press on. You get to about what you feel like is right around the end of your first watch. So right around the time that like Nim would take over if you were doing like a regular rotation. So it's fairly late in the night. You're kind of in the, couple of hours till daybreak sort of thing. And you start to feel like you get that kind of feeling of motion, like things are moving on you a little bit. Kind of like you would if you were like on a ship or something like that. You just got that sensation of movement. And it takes you a little while to kind of recognize where it's coming from, but you notice that the floorboards are kind of ever so slightly shifting up and down kind of individually. Never enough to like break or crack them, but just enough that you can see the pattern of something kind of waving its way underneath kind of over and over again sort of thing. And that motion, just because you've been staring at the floor, has kind of given you that little bit of a seasick feeling.
Is it like a consistent pattern or is it more random?
Pretty random. That's part of the reason it's kind of making you vaguely nauseous, is the whole floor just kind of seems to be undulating in different directions ever so slightly.
Okay, so no specific spot where it's worse?
No, just kind of a general, just kind of everywhere feeling.
Does it roll over under the tents?
Anywhere where there are the floorboards, so yeah.
Just take note of it.
Okay.
I'll try to stand on it a little bit too when I was doing that, I suppose.
Sure. So you get up and you move around a little bit just to one thing that you notice is when you move around, those areas stop moving. So kind of like as you pace, like the floorboards that you're on stop, but everywhere else is still kind of doing that slight movement to them.
Okay. I'll just get back on the bar and continue watching.
Okay. So as you progress through kind of your last watch, nothing much else really changes. You do notice there's a little bit more movement to the floor. It does seem to pick up just a tiny bit, and you start to hear a little bit more of that cracking and groaning sound of an older building. But right around when you start kind of perceiving that it's picking up a little bit, you start to notice just the bare twinges of light through the windows as things kind of lighten up.
While the floor's still going and when it picks up a little bit, can I go over and look through the window and see what it looks like in the ground outside?
Yeah, absolutely. How close do you get to the window? Because that is where the vines are.
Close enough to see through with my dark vision.
Okay.
So wherever that is, but enough space that I'm not worried about like tripping or falling if like the floor goes super weird around me.
Okay, so trying to stay, at least like 5 feet away type deal?
Yeah.
Okay. So you move closer, but not too close to the windows. And one thing that you notice is as you kind of move there before things start to lighten up outside, is that again, moving through the floorboards stop moving when you put your feet on them. But as you get closer to the window, you notice that the vines, instead of kind of shying away from your movement like they were doing earlier, they're kind of reaching outwards just a little bit. The tips are kind of extending out from the wall a little, just kind of in anticipation of your body.
Take note of it, but I'm looking.
Yeah,
Still go look inside.
outside it's hard to see. It's almost pitch black. But with your vision, you can pick up just trace amounts of movement outside. Things slithering across the ground type of thing. It kind of looks like the vines are just moving around a bit more freely in the dark.
Okay. I'll go back and...
As you retreat from the windows, the vines do kind of drop back down a little bit. They're no longer kind of raised. And yeah, you go back to the bar, and kind of right around that time is when it starts to begin brightening outside, and you feel a lot of that movement taper off.
As it starts brightening, I'll go back over to just any of the vines on the walls and just see if they're still reaching out or if they're more
They
shy
are
away.
not.
Okay.
Yeah, and then within the next hour or so, you kind of hit dawn, and things quiet down, the building stops creaking as much. And the rest of your watch is uneventful while the rest of the night finishes out. So I would imagine all of you probably wake up around more or less the same time. So yeah, that was your night.
I'll fill everybody in on the floor undulating in the, that it seems to be the vines causing a lot of shit, and that the vines change their behavior at night.
Okay.
Lazarus comments that it's the first time he actually slept in a tent sleeping bag since we started.
How ironic, and it was in an inn. Bam.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was a strange night.
Yep.
I'm glad we didn't go out.
Kidnapped by the vines. I suppose we wake up and just throw together something to eat. What we're doing?
Yeah,
Willie, and then we kind of decide what we're doing.
Yeah, we'll find Willie. Willie's still alive.
Yeah, you kind of knock on the kitchen door, and he's in there. He's kind of in the process of waking up himself.
I want to do a thing. I want to speak with plants.
Do it.
Do it.
Going to do it.
Okay. Anybody doing anything else before I go down Kenna's? Okay.
Is there anything in particular before I cast this that you guys want me to ask the plants?
What the fuck is up, plants?
I mean, yeah.
What kind of plants get more active in the dark?
Yeah? Where the source of their power comes from?
It's probably sunlight.
Clearly not.
Oh, they're just too busy absorbing it during the day.
They can't be bothered to photosynthesize.
Oh, I suppose I'll go over what it changed. I took off Compelled Duel and Find Steve, and I put on Detect Evil and Good and Daylight. Just in case.
Okay. Nim, any wizarding changes?
I took all my spells off and put them all back on again.
Nice.
Goddamn show-off wizards. Kenna?
I took off Ice Knife, Dispel Magic, and Sleet Storm, and put on Protection from Poison, Speak with Plants, and Lesser Resto.
You did not have Lesser Resto.
It's fixed now.
It's good.
It's fixed now, it's fine.
Because I took mine off.
But I don't have Dispel Magic anymore.
So Nims are only Dispeller.
I don't have Dispel Magic.
Okay, so we all just simultaneously took out Dispel Magic.
No, I've never had Dispel Magic.
It's true, he never has.
I thought Cody would have it on, so I
It's
took
third
it out.
level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cody can't use it either.
I can, it's just I have...
Yeah, it's just-
When we get back to Stronghold, I'll just get a spell scroll.
It was either, like, I don't know, it was hard, because I had to leave Dark Vision on, because two of us don't have Dark Vision.
Like I said, don't look to me. I'm not judging your spell choices. I'm just planning accordingly.
He's just plotting accordingly.
Plotting. All right. Well, is there Kenna? So where are you doing the talk to plants? You just gonna do it
Here.
kind of in the main room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kenna moves over to one of the windows. Is everybody kind of interested? They're all kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you'd be able to understand what's going on or
I'll have,
anything,
like,
but.
The one hand out ready to grab Kenna and get the vines, just like trying to reach up and throttle it.
Oh, see, there's teamwork. Lazarus has got the hand on the scruff of the neck.
Technically, though, I can control them. Technically. Let me explain. You can also turn difficult terrain caused by plant growth, such as thickets and undergrowth, into ordinary terrain, or vice versa.
That's assuming these are normal plants.
I know, but...
Didn't it say specifically caused by the spell plant growth just now?
No. Oh, caused by plant growth, you're right, yeah.
No? Oh, wait.
Yeah,
I was
sure
about to say,
did.
that is what you just read out to me.
I just didn't hear that part in my head.
Okay. Kenna, you move towards the plants. Lazarus, you've got the hand, ready to yank her back from trouble. Nim, Dis, what are you guys doing?
Just pull my sword out and be ready.
I mean, pulling a god weapon, I think it's a measure of safety. Sure. Do you do anything with your god weapon at the moment?
No, just have it at the ready in case I need to, trim some plants.
Fair enough.
Trimming hedges.
Trim the hedges.
Solving the problem. Okay. Kenna, go up, say your piece, and speak to the plants.
Start with, good morning, plants. Good
How
morning,
do you cast the
vine.
spell first?
Oh.
I need the description.
Talk to me.
Hey, you plants!
Talk to me.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
All right, so as Kenna moves forward and she instructs the plants to talk to him, you do notice a faint lifting of the vines. Like they've kind of noticed your presence, not unlike they did with Dis last night. Yeah, I suppose you can begin talking to them.
Good morning, Vine. I have a few questions for you. That's creepy as hell. Alrighty then. I've never seen a plant like you that gets more active at night. Is there a reason for that?
We grow.
At night?
We grow.
I get that, but like at night do you grow?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you poisonous?
We are what we are. We are the death vine.
You are the death vine. Interesting. And why are you growing here?
To feed.
To feed on what?
Anything.
Anything. Wood?
If we must.
What do you like to eat?
Things that live.
Cool. It's cool.
We can feel your heartbeat.
Super cool. Super casual. Great. Interesting. How many living things are here right now?
We are unsure.
Why are you unsure?
Some are hidden.
Huh. Are you all connected as one?
We are what we
I'm just like, ask him about the brooch.
I'm trying to think of how to word it. Thank you.
Someone can understand me.
are. That's true.
There's a brooch in one of the houses. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it a lie?
I don't know. They want to know if the brooch is alive. I don't have an answer for that.
Alive with magic.
Yeah.
Ask him where it came from.
Where did you come from?
We grow from the ground.
Do you have a center? Or you all have different roots in? I guess you would be fine. That was a stupid question answering myself. They grow from the ground, Dis.
Whoa.
How far have you grown out?
We reached the edge.
You've reached the edge. Where's the edge?
We do not understand the question.
You reached it. Does anyone else have any other questions you would like me to ask at this point?
Could you ask the vine to make like a tree and fuck off?
How could we get you to leave?
We will grow until there is nothing left to eat.
They're gonna keep growing until everything is dead.
Or gone. I don't know that.
Nim. I don't know that.
Some superpowered herbicide.
Kill X this shit.
Did you ask it to just, leave us alone?
I can try. Could you leave us alone?
But why?
It's a good question. They want to know why.
Because we will murder its ass if it doesn't.
Because we don't.
You don't have to burn a bitch down. Or do we not?
Yeah, I mean, Nim seems pretty attached to the idea overall.
As per usual.
I don't think "don't want to" is the right word for Nim.
Because we aren't here for you.
We do not understand.
You do what you do. We'll do what we do.
We will do what we do.
Perhaps indicate we will defend ourselves.
We will defend ourselves.
In what way?
Whatever way necessary.
You believe we should fear you.
I want to say yes. But I also don't want to say yes.
Perhaps just suggest it's costly.
Just say it's a battle we both lose.
I like that one. I think for the benefit of you, for you guys, all of you, and the benefit of us, it would be better if we just left each other alone.
We do not understand. What threat do you possess?
Well, have you ever had anyone talk to you before?
This is new, but a challenge is welcome.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. It's got pride.
It's got a lot of pride. It would be best you left us alone.
We agree.
It'd be best if you left us alone.
We would be best left alone.
So would we.
Then we shall see who should be left alone more.
Great. Pissed off the plant.
Thought if it doesn't leave us alone, we're going to take every source of food it has away.
I mean, we could. We could take all of your food away. There would be nothing left here for you. Which in turn will kill you.
You believe you can find the hidden food?
Yes.
Interesting. We will wait to see what you find.
Alright. I purposely haven't told you guys about the hidden food yet because I don't want to say it in Willie's presence. Where is Willie?
In the kitchen.
Okay.
Just looking out.
The fuck are they doing?
The fuck is
Plant's
this?
just sitting there.
Is this normal nowadays?
I have the ability for an hour, so I'm just gonna stop talking to them right now.
Okay.
I will relay everything. There's hidden food. Which means something's alive around here.
Perhaps there's more to the guardian of the amulet than we see.
Must be. What if we just fireball the whole house that the amulet's in?
Oh, well, I mean,
that was my idea.
He's just gonna nuke it.
mass explosions, hell yeah.
Nim's like, son of a bitch!
That's what I suggested. I was like, oh, well, the amulet won't burn, the rest of it will.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think that's the best idea after talking to the vines.
I mean, I've got 7 fireballs I can cast in a day. Like, how big is this town?
I wonder also, though, because I have Ice Storm on, I wonder how they would respond to freezing cold.
That's one thing that the dude never mentioned.
Exactly.
They did try in holy water, which I guess would include radiant damage.
Depends on if the holy water was actually holy or not. Just because
Also-
somebody says it's holy water doesn't mean it actually is.
Also, it'd be a small portion of holy water.
I have 2 holy flasks.
I have Moonlight on.
Moonbeam.
Be gone,
Moonbeam,
demon!
Yeah, I mean, I do too.
Couldn't you just, like, smite into it and see what happens?
Yeah, except that's,
We'll leave you alone.
Time to die, plants!
yeah, it's a rather direct action against it, whereas other tests we can kind of, like, pass off.
I mean, to be fair, we've already murdered a little bit of it.
Well, you clipped it.
That's
I
true.
flipped it.
There was some clipping involved.
I lost a leaf. It didn't get, like, hammered. Also, how do you hammer a plant? It just flops out of the way.
Yeah, bludgeoning damage might not be super useful.
Really concerned
Better
about
bring up
other
your god
living
weapon. It's
things
gonna be the
here.
best machete we got.
Because if it can't even find it.
I feel like this is like the movie Poltergeist,
Mm-hmm.
where, like, they get sucked into an alternate dimension.
Yep. They're in the mirror dimension
Yeah,
right now.
they're in the mirror dimension right
Yeah.
now. They're in the upside down.
Yeah, they are in the upside down.
Yeah, but what if they're being there to be kept safe from the vines?
Could be what it is.
So,
Questions.
the vines, they just seem to be, like, around the outside of the building and, like, in through the windows, right?
Yeah.
Can I go to the staircase and look up?
Yeah. If you go to the staircase that goes upwards, there's a door there. To kind of like separate that area. Probably rooms, you would imagine. So you can't see much. There's just a door.
Can I open the door?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are the doorknobs?
I like staring at people when they say they want to open a door.
the
Makes them
door?
really uncomfortable.
What are the doorknobs made out of?
The doorknobs? It looks like just some wooden, like they're very like,
They're wooden and not metal.
yeah.
Reflections.
Yeah, because the soot would wipe off when you open.
But yeah, it's just like a wooden latch, really. But yeah, you go up and you can kind of wedge the latch upwards and kind of let the door creak open. It opens inwards, and you lift it up and you unlatch it, and there is kind of that it gives for a second, but it only moves like maybe an inch before it seems to kind of bump into something.
Can I see what that something is?
You can try to peer through the door. It's not really like, it's only moved about an inch, so like the door really is just clearing the door frame.
Right.
You'd have to give it kind of more of a shove if you wanted to be able to see what's on the other side.
Shape.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's slipped through something small.
Yep. Should I shapeshift into a bat or a mouse?
Mice can slip through smaller areas.
But then I have to be on the ground.
Yeah.
This is true.
A mouse is pretty easy to grab.
Maybe you should just not shapeshift at all. Just shut the door. Or maybe we should just leave it well enough alone and just shut the door and forget this ever happened.
That's what
Wait. I still have Speak with Plants on.
Yep.
I want to say hello and see if anything answers behind the door.
Okay, so you crack the door a little bit and you say hello back. On the other side of the door, you get the response, but it's like, it's layered upon itself, like 100 people responding at once sort of thing. And it's just kind of one long, but it's like all like echoed on top of each other.
Okay, and then I want to, are you blocking the door?
We feel it.
Am I pushing it against you right now?
Yes.
Alright, thank you. I'll close and latch the door.
Okay.
So the vine's taking me upstairs. I want to check the basement now.
Sure. So the basement door swings the other way, like it swings back towards you. So you pop the latch, swing it open. There's kind of there's not really a basement so much as it looks like it's probably just a storage cellar. So there's the set of stairs that go down. It goes down into, inky blackness, and it's mostly just dirt walls, but you don't see much. It's too dark.
Dis.
I go down.
Okay. You go down or?
Yeah.
Okay. How far do you want to go now?
I'll just very, very slightly past. I'm looking.
Yeah.
My curiosity is more around the floor or the ceiling for the basement. I want to see what was making the floor undulate.
Okay. So as you kind of look down the staircase, you can kind of see where the floor is, and then it's really just resting on the dirt. And then somebody's dug into the dirt to let the stairs go down. So it's not really like a solid connection. It's just kind of sitting on top. You can definitely see vines on the ground level, under the wood. And as you kind of look down, your dark vision's obviously much better. You can see there's vines under the stairs and poking through the dirt. And that whole cellar looks like it's just kind of got 1,000 little tentacles sticking out of the wall. Just these little vine extensions.
Vines everywhere.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back up.
Fair. You close the door.
I feel like we're in Jumanji.
Jumanji wishes.
Well,
No, like the original Jumanji.
Yeah.
Not
No,
the-
that's what I mean. Jumanji really didn't scratch the surface of fun things you can do with fast-growing vines.
Yay.
There's some fun stuff you can do.
Yeah.
indeed.
Okay. What's our game plan?
I have no idea.
That seems like a good place to end. We're right around there.
Yeah,
We'll give you guys the week to figure out a game plan.
Next time on Servitor.
Wow, what a cliffhanger! I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.